Hi everyone, welcome to the stream that you've all been waiting for. It is Mark's Wildcard stream and he's very stressed, so let's help him out. How you doing, Mark? Good Christmas?
Are you really going to help? Yeah, I had a good Christmas, although, this was hanging over the entire Christmas, obviously. I knew this was coming up and I knew this evening was going to be tough and it's here.
700 people watching, Mark.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully some of them are also going through what I'm going through and wondering what to do. We've got less than how long have we got till 1:30 tomorrow? So I've got just over 12 hours to. I wonder how much sleep I'm going to get in that time.
Yeah, it's. I think that with the wild card, you either kind of know what you're going to do with it. And and I think you did
until today, and then it's
and then something happens, and then then things start getting in your head and stuff. I mean, at least you've only got one day of torture rather than a week. Like
see what
you would normally.
Yeah, what I needed was I needed Liverpool to convince and Trent and Robertson to get something, or
me too.
Didn't have to be that. Yeah, we'll talk about you in a minute, but or I needed Kane on Son to do something and Spurs to show a bit more ambition, and neither happened. And so the two I had two schools of thoughts for the wild card. Either I go big on Liverpool and we go 3 Liverpool players and we go the 2 fullbacks and Salah, or you go all in for Spurs for the Fulham and Leeds games and that was it. I was going to do one or the other. And now I'm like, oh, maybe I shouldn't do either of those. And maybe I need to start again. I don't know. It's just very difficult, isn't it? And leaving it, I wish now I hadn't have done it. I wish now that I'd have played it earlier. There was never really a good time to play it. There was a couple of opportunities I think I could have played it in when I was always in the back of my mind going, no, I must leave it for these double game weeks coming up, which... a couple of weeks ago, I was being all Mr. Smugface and going, oh, I made the right call there. But then, I've bought this on myself this evening now, what I'm feeling right now.
Mark. You don't need it.
I could do. And it might well be the best thing to do, ironically. But I've got to kind of have a go, haven't I? Otherwise, no point. I've got to have a go. Got to have a go. And it might backfire, might blow out in my face, probably will, get every chance. I mean, the thing is, you're testament to the fact that when you take a risk, when you do something, when you're active, when you're not passive, it goes wrong. Tell us about your game week, because before we get on to me, I'd like to hear. We've got some drinks. I've got a whiskey chaser, got a couple of beers.
God, I need more than a few drinks.
And there's a few people listening, so they're all sharing your agony. But actually, what I'll do, I'll bring up your team, shall I? Let's do that. And have a look. Oh, I've got it open here. Let's just go and have a look on your team here. Right, so that's it, isn't it? 48 points. Now, talk us through what you did. What was your transfers? Let me just go on to your transfer history here. Let's find out what you did. Because it looked like a good move. There it is at the top.
Yeah.
Yeah. 3 transfers.
I took the -8, didn't I?
-8.
Yeah. Took the -8. I took out 3 players who I didn't expect to play, and only one of them played. So I took out Mahrez, he didn't play. I took out Lamptey, he didn't play. And I took out Rhys James, who no one expected to play.
No, I didn't.
But played.
No.
And I brought in double Liverpool defence in what looked like a certain clean sheet.
Against a team who created one big chance in the last 4 games. Maybe even longer than that.
Yeah. And I brought in Raphinha, who, is a bit of a punt, but good underlying stats, playing for a very attacking Leeds team against Burnley, who we expected to dominate. He looked very lively today. I've used that word before to describe other players of mine.
You have?
Unfortunately, didn't get anything, and nor did Trent Robertson. And, to combine those players got 7 points. So didn't even pay back the -8. What's more amazing, though, is that if I'd done nothing, if I'd done literally nothing and made no transfers...
This is a bit ridiculous. Yeah, go on.
And gone into it with... so if I'd gone into it with my... I'd have had 2 fit defenders. I'd have had 3, because I've had a Chilwell, James and Eiling. But let's assume that I didn't think that James and Chilwell were going to play. So I'd have had 1 fit defender. I would have played Eiling, so he would have been my high scoring defender with 6. And I would have got Souček on for Mahrez. So I would have got 10 points from that.
So Eiling would have come on. So you could have done the Dexy's Midnight Runner joke as well. So you missed that
16 points. 16
Look at that
on
your
those
bench.
2 players.
16 points, yeah. And Souček, it's funny, when I had my team up on screen, I said to you, what do you reckon? Should I play Souček or should I start Kufal? Because I thought I'd made a boo-boo, actually. I thought, going into the game, I thought, why didn't I just start Soufal? Why did I? Because the clean sheet against, I can't even remember who they're playing now. The clean sheet for West Ham today, which was Brighton, of course. Yeah, should remember that, shouldn't I? Was kind of on the cards. I thought they had a good chance of clean sheet, and you talked me into doing Souček because I said to you, "Do you reckon Souček could cause some problems?" And you said, "Oh yeah, definitely." And I had a look at the data
definitely.
after that. I had a look at the data, and you've been pretty good in the. I mean, you ranked second for fewest chances conceded from headers, and also from XG set pieces. You were pretty strong. But how did he? Like, you had Burn out there, you had Dunk out there, you had Webster out there, and you had White. He's not the tallest, but he's a centre back. So you had four. You could say you had four centre backs playing, and still Souček got a free header from 6 yards out.
Because this is what we do. This is what we do. And this is why, like, I'm all for the stats. I'm all for XG. I'm all for XGC and all that stuff. But when it comes to Brighton, it is meaningless because I have never seen a team who switches off so often in the thing. And they can defend absolutely amazingly. And then it's like a light flashes and they all just like, oh, what just happened? And then someone scored. It happens. Honestly, it happens every game. It's unbelievable.
It was a weird
And I knew
one.
Souček would profit from that. I just couldn't work out who to bench from him out of because my forward line was Salah, Fernandes, Son, Raphinha, who's at home to Burnley, and then Calvert-Lewin, Sheffield United, who was against Sheffield United, Bamford, and Adams, who had Fulham. So I wanted to play Souček. I just didn't know who to bench. It's the problem with having.
By getting Raphinha, you couldn't have got Robertson and Alexander-Arnold without getting rid of Mahrez for Raphinha, though, right?
No.
So it's not like, I mean, because the Liverpool fullbacks, that's not a mistake. That's just unfortunate, I think, in that you caught Allardyce's first proper game in charge, I guess, and he's got the hoodoo over Klopp, and he's done it again. I mean, crazy, but he did. Right?
They were poor. They deserved it. They deserved.
Yeah, I didn't see the game.
Equalise.
Brilliant preparation for my wildcard. I haven't seen the Liverpool game or the Spurs game, and yet those two teams are probably at the crux of my wildcard. But anyway, so much football.
I'll give you the quick rundown of the Liverpool game.
Yeah, go on.
First half, Liverpool dominant, looking really good. Ball over the top from Matip, not dealt with. Mane scores. Looks like it's going to be. It looks like it's going to be a routine 3 or 4-0. Second half, Liverpool completely forget how to play football. Matip goes off injured, like he so often does, and West Brom just going to
went off before the clean sheet, didn't he? He went off.
Yeah, he went off 59 minutes 22 seconds in. So if you had him, you still got 3 bonus and an assist.
I know.
So.
I was going to get him, and I was quite miffed when he got the assist. I was like, "What's the chance of him getting an assist?" And then,
I know.
Then when he didn't get the clean sheet, I was like, "Oh, okay, that's about even then." Because
the problem is his replacement. Because it's
Rhys Williams,
Rhys Williams, isn't it? I mean, he was completely done for pace by Carlon Grant, who had a 1-on-1 and should have scored.
Yeah,
and I saw that, and I was about 60, 70 minutes in, and I was like, oh, that was. I mean, that happened, and I thought there's absolutely no way Liverpool are going to clean sheet here. Like, they don't deserve one. West Brom are just growing into this game, looking more and more threatening. And then Jones, who he's broken into the team. He looked quite good for a lot of the time, but he just gives away the most stupid corner you've ever seen in your life. And it's exactly what you said. It's West Brom.
I know.
All they want is corners and free kicks.
But I foolishly said Allardyce hadn't had long enough to come up with anything, but he had.
Yeah.
He did a routine, didn't he? Yeah,
he did.
And it worked.
Yeah, he did. It was really clever.
So we did call it, but we didn't expect Allardyce to have anything up his sleeve yet. But it didn't take him long to sort that out, did it? Crazy.
No.
I mean, it's like I said, we said about Ajayi, he could be his leading scorer. He basically probably did do what we said. He probably went, right. Yeah. My best point is just win a corner, get Ajayi on the end of it, and he probably just trained set pieces.
Yeah. And it looks so easy when that happens, and it's But you look at Liverpool's defence, and suddenly with Matip out and injured again.
I know, this is it.
You're looking at the centre backs. You're thinking, that's because Trent and Robertson get 10 points last week. They win 7-0, and you think, they're back. Yeah. It's going to be great. And I was guilty of that. And then watching them today, there's no Van Dijk and Gomez.
Even against Palace, they looked a bit vulnerable for about 20 minutes, didn't they? They had chances, Palace. So even then, I was like, but it's just the attacking potential. And I just thought Robertson and Alexander-Arnold would have delivered something for you today. Robertson put in crosses. I mean, the first 20 minutes, I did see that much before I had to give in and go, okay, I've had enough football today, let's turn it off. But I saw him put one over for Salah, and Salah didn't connect, and I was like, oh, well, yeah. I thought to myself that you'd do quite well out of this game, but yeah, didn't turn out.
Well, how's this for fine margin? So I made the mistake of checking the live FPL website at about
don't do that.
At about 70 minutes in, and not through any confidence, but just out of interest. And if I'd got that double clean sheet, I would have gone up 300,000 places.
Yeah.
So, you know, that kind of has weirdly made me feel a bit better, because it kind of shows the margins I'm dealing with. I feel like just one good week, like just 1 week where like I get a couple of decent returns from like a double Liverpool clean sheet and something from Raphinha, and I'm probably going to go up like 400,000 or 500,000 places. So it's not over yet. It's just like every week, it's just like, come on, like, because I messaged you this morning and I was like, how many points do you reckon I'm going to get from Raphinha, Son, Robertson and Alexander-Arnold? And you were like, well, 20 easily. I was like, yeah, it'd be 20. Got 10 points from those guys.
Yeah, and what hurts is, 48 is not a good score in a week where most people got mid-50s, I would have said, but worse by the -8, of course. So it just, I mean, like, as I said, being passive can pay off, which is the last thing I want to think about when I'm just about to make maybe 10, 12 changes to my team.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think I'm...
It's not how we play, though, is it? Neither of us are passive like players. We both attack anything when we have the chance to, and you know, it normally does quite well for us. But it can obviously bite you.
A couple of green arrows. I've had a couple of red arrows and a couple of green arrows, but I don't know where my final game week rank is. But I've gone up to just outside.
Enjoying this live clicking through your
it's crazy. So, talking of Rhys Williams, actually, I was listening to Tim Sherwood commenting about Rhys Williams, and he in the space of about 3 minutes he wrecked his career. He's only young, Rhys Williams, isn't he? And he said, Rhys Williams doesn't have any pace, so he's got to be careful not to get caught in the pace. And then he also, about 2 minutes later, said, he's not good in the air either. And I'm like, so hold on a minute. So we've got this young centre back who's not good in the air and he's no pace. And I felt that was a bit harsh, but from what I'm hearing and from what I've seen, Sherwood's probably not far off. He doesn't look dominant in the air, and he doesn't look pacey either. So whether he is a centre back,
I don't get it, and
I don't know,
because they've got Nathaniel Phillips who played against West Ham, and he played against Brighton, and particularly against Brighton, he looked like a kind of no nonsense, strong in the air, like head everything away. And like, obviously I'm not a Champions League winning manager like Klopp, but to me he seemed a better fit for this kind of game than
for West Brom. Set pieces, you'd have thought. Was he not on the bench?
I'm not sure. Right. I don't know, but it was, I mean, Williams really didn't do anything to make me think he's going to be knocking on the door for a first team start. They'll be buying in January, I think. They've got to buy someone.
Sure. It's just hard. It's just harsh for him to be thrown in at this, such a high profile team with the situation they're in, top of the league. But I mean,
there's FPL family. Williams is young. He's still learning and developing. I mean, he hasn't got time to develop.
This is what this is what Lampard was saying about Werner, wasn't he? He said, we've got to give him time, but it's got to be soon. Did you see that quote?
Yeah. Got to give him time, but he can have a week.
But Williams has got time. And I did think Sherwood's comments were like, wow, that's really super harsh on the kid. I mean, you don't want any young player to be hearing that kind of thing, especially in the situation Liverpool are in. But I think it is quite difficult for Klopp to throw him into this, because obviously the match is coming up a higher profile now. Liverpool there to be shot at, and there's a few teams in range. Although Spurs dropped points tonight as well. Are you going to mention your bet? You won that, didn't you? At least you won that.
Yeah, sorry, just pouring my drink. Yeah, I would like to just bask in my bet quickly, because I bet you. I can't remember when it was. It must have been around game. I'll tell you. Actually, no. I'll tell you.
Granville wasn't on the show. He was in the chat giving it all this.
In the chat, as he always is. Yeah, it was game week 8. After game week 8, and it was when Spurs were about to embark on their hard run. And we were talking about Spurs against City, and we both thought it was a big game. Neither of us were really sure which way it would go. I think I said I expect City to win, but we kind of thought Spurs would probably have a bit of a fight. But then I thought, with the run they've got, I don't think Spurs are going to be top 4. And Granville was there mouthing off. He's like, of course they'll be top 4.
Granville actually said...
they'll be top, he said.
And Granville actually said, I don't agree with anything that Az has said tonight.
He does. He is. And he says that multiple times, but it does hurt my feelings, I have to say.
He's so harsh. He doesn't care.
I know. But the bet ran right up to game week 16, so it's just finished. And Spurs are 5th. So I've won the bet, and your payment is you'll be donating £20 to Dementia UK.
It'd be my pleasure to donate money to charity on that basis. I should have been speaking to some Spurs fans who probably would have told me not to have that bet, I'm sure. I know that Spurs fans are quite surprised.
We're doing well.
I know, but whenever I hear James on Planet FBL talk about Spurs, he plays it down, and he's like, no, we're not title contenders. And really, I should take notice of that, because he should know Spurs far better than I do, of course. And he's right by the looks of it. They're not.
There was a guy in the chat, and his name was Luke Trineman, and he was slating me. He was, you're so biased. Spurs are great. You just saying that because you don't like Spurs, just constantly. And yeah, there you go. I was right.
Yeah, that's probably grand.
Screw the lot of you.
Yeah. Well done. So yeah, you get that at least. I didn't see the Spurs game either, so I'm recording match of the day 2, and I'll watch that into the early hours. I mean, I'm not. Just a disclaimer here, there's no way I'm going to commit to my wildcard tonight. We're going to make some transfers. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about some options. And hopefully, you're going to help me.
We're in this together.
I know. I want you to help me. I just wonder
one of us has got to do well.
I wonder whether you've got an agenda now, because you blame me for the -8 because I kind of encourage you to do that. See, it's like I do. When we give each other advice, I don't want, if it goes wrong, I don't want you to think that I'm doing it to because people build it up. They go, oh, Mark's like, he's mind games again. He's doing it. I'm not. I'm really not. I'm not.
I blame you more for telling me to play Mahrez against Southampton than I do the double Liverpool defence.
Like we've said so many times, I don't know what's going on with Mahrez.
I'll tell you what, though, I do feel free of Mahrez. The -8 was worth it to be rid of him, because, I mean, if I kept him, and I know Souček obviously would have come off my bench, but if I'd kept him and he hadn't started again, I mean, it's ridiculous. Like, his fall from the team has just been I've never seen anything like it.
I thought Torres would be up front, or Sterling. So when that injury broke about, when COVID broke about Jesus, I thought, oh yeah, probably right, as he's going to start now. But no sign of him.
And now Bernardo's back in out of nowhere.
Yeah, they do look a better team with him. I think they'll look a better team with him there, though. The thing with Bernardo is he doesn't do anything super flash like Mahrez, but he retains the ball. He keeps it moving. He makes them more fluid, whereas Mahrez will take players on, will do a bit of the unexpected, but actually doesn't suit City's play when they're trying to break down a team. When they're trying to break down a team, they like to continually switch play, and it's all about retaining possession.
They're so boring watch now, though. My God.
Well, not as a Cancelo owner. I was well happy with his performance.
Yeah, he's the one to own.
He is, which is a pain in the arse, because I wanted to get rid of him. I mean, that I was all set for. I mean, I've got some wildcard lineups. I did the old snipped a few screenshots out, saved them to my desktop. I had some variations earlier in the week without Cancelo and Diaz, but the more I think about it, even though they haven't got the fixtures and they haven't got the double, the problem with them two is that they come out of the double game week with a ridiculous run of games. If you have a look at this, so 20, they've got West Brom away, 21 Sheffield United at home, 22 Burnley away. Now,
I know
you want to have 3 Man City defenders, not 2, probably, for that one. Because I honestly can't see them. I mean, maybe set pieces against all 3 of those teams they'll be weaker on, but other than that, I mean, those teams have got to win set pieces first against City, because they'll just retain 80% possession against those 3 teams, aren't they? And it'll be most likely 3 clean sheets. But, De Bruyne is an easy sell, like I said on Twitter. Cancelo and Diaz less so because of that run. So I want to come out of 19 with my 2 City defenders, really, because otherwise I'm booking in transfers, aren't I? Now, I'm not going to be in a hurry to get De Bruyne back, I don't think, because it doesn't look like City are a free-flowing goal-scoring team unless they're playing Burnley at home. That fixture tends to be the one that they... but in those 3 games, I expect them to win them, but probably not by masses of goals. So it's Diaz and Cancelo I want to hold on to. De Bruyne I'll be less inclined to keep. The big problem for me is this man Grealish. Right?
Is it a problem, though?
Well, what would you do? Come on, what would you do in my shoes now?
Well, I think it's an easy sell.
Do you?
is an easy sell. I mean, he's great. I love him. We both love him. We both love him. He's fantastic. He's having an amazing season. His points haven't been amazing. He got the 9 against West Brom in the last 10 minutes. He's blanked in the 3 games around that. He's on 4 yellow cards now.
Yeah, which helps.
He's got an awful run of games, and he hasn't got a double.
Yeah, so this is his scores, right? Since, obviously, he got the 15 against Southampton, but
since Barkley got injured.
Yeah, but Barkley's coming back to fitness, isn't he? That's the worry. He's not fully back yet, though. I think Barkley probably won't make Chelsea, but he might make the games after that because they've got the FA Cup break, obviously. So I don't think he'll make this game week's matches, but he might be back after for the double for 17 and 18 maybe. Yeah, so his scores recently haven't been stellar, and yeah, it's this run, it's that run there where I saw FPL Generals talking about Watkins because obviously Watkins has just done well for him, right? And he's like saying, should I sell him? And it's the same kind. I think he's got Grealish as well. I look at those fixtures and think, what can I expect from Grealish? Well, he can do it against anyone. He scored at Old Trafford last year. He can certainly do something against the Spurs defence, I'd have thought. Chelsea may be more difficult, although Arsenal didn't make too much effort. I mean, so he could easily get points in all these games, and certainly for 19 with the doubles, he could hurt me at home to Everton. And it's what I can do by selling him, right? So it probably would be Raphinha that I'd bring in for him. And Raphinha isn't a straight swap. If you look at Leeds fixtures, yeah, okay, so they've got West Brom away, Spurs away, and then they've got the double. Brighton and Southampton, they're the 2 that appeal to me, right? I kind of think that Leeds will get some goals in those 2 games. So for the double game week, Raphinha looks okay. You've got him, of course, as well.
Yep.
Grealish could easily outscore Raphinha over this spell, but obviously there's 2 million in the bank as well by selling Grealish. I will lose 0-4. But
I've got a suggestion.
Yeah, go on.
Which you're never going to do. Maddison.
Yeah, to be honest, he's not in any of my drafts, Maddison.
He would be in mine. He's 7.1, and the games they've got leading up to the doubles, I think, are really nice, and people are overlooking Leicester quite a lot. I mean, Palace away and Newcastle away, Leicester have been really good away from home this season, and then they go into 2 home games, so Southampton and Chelsea. Vardy is interesting because I'm wondering if you've got Vardy in any of your wildcard drafts. I doubt it. I doubt you have, but he'd be the first name on mine.
Well, I'm coming around to that now. I mean, because obviously I had, I've got some teams that I can show. Let's look at the first of these here. So this was. I knew
everyone would slate me for Maddison in the chat. He's on set plays. He's free kicked. He's playing quite advanced this season. He looks good. Leicester look great. I think it's a good pick.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, Leicester.
This is draft 1, is it?
Well, this was one of the drafts I had. This is with the 2 Spurs players in, and this was with
that defence mark.
Alex, yeah, I know. Yeah.
Oh, I mean, Pope. Oh my God.
No, I'm going. No, those 2 goalkeepers locked in.
Oh, I hate it. I hate everything about this.
Why do you hate Pope? When Pope already is the second highest scoring keeper, he's got Sheffield United and Fulham at home next. They just lost at Leeds, right? So they've got to go into full-on beast mode for those 2. Those 2 games there could determine Burnley's season. And Pope's history this year, look how many double-figure returns he's already got. 4, which is actually more than Grealish. We know the score with Pope, right? If they get clean sheets in those 2 games, he'll get bonus as well. He's only got to make a couple of saves and he'll get bonus because they don't get any passing BPS, do they? The centre-backs and full-backs. So I look at that and think... And the thing is, right, people without the wild card will absolutely keep Martinez because Martinez, who's in my team at the moment, has done brilliantly, and I wouldn't be selling him if I didn't have a wild card, probably. So I know that the goalkeeper position is a position I can make up ground because I know the majority of managers who hold Martinez are probably going to keep him. So therefore, if Martinez, with his fixtures that he's got, gets no clean sheets in the next 3, which is entirely possible given that he's got those 3 games, I don't see a clean sheet for Villa in any of these 3 games. I'll be surprised if they keep a clean sheet in. So
if he does get a clean sheet, he's getting another 10-pointer.
Yeah, because he'll get saves. Yeah, probably. Yeah, probably. But at this stage, the big problem I've got at the moment is all our bloody teams are the same, right? Look at my team here, right? So my front line, that midfield there, give or take Son for Souček, because I've got a bit more in defence, is the template, right? So you put Son in there, that's the template. Calvert-Lewin and Bamford, template. And maybe you got Watkins instead of Brewster because you haven't got as much money in defence, right? So the only differentials in my team, Martinez in goal, template. The only differentials in my team are James and the 2 City defenders. And that it kind of worked this week, but Cancelo should have got a bigger score for me. So basically every week at the moment, the only players I'm kind of rooting for are my defenders, because when Calvert-Lewin or Grealish or Fernandes gets points, yeah, it's nice. And I will go up the rankings because there'll be managers around me who don't have them. But within the Twitter sphere, within the managers that I want to get better at beating, they've all got the same players, right? You've got those players. General's got those players. So if I can't sit here with a wild card with a double game coming up and go, I'm taking Martinez out now when he's got those fixtures, what bloody hope have I got? I've got to, haven't I? I can't back Martinez over that run of fixtures. And what I've got to, and that's why the goalkeeper position is really important to me. And I think the most effective goalkeeper in terms of getting big returns is Pope, and he's got 2 great fixtures. So that's why Pope for me is going in. Because what would you do then? Would you keep Martinez for the double game week?
Right. I've got so many comments about this team.
That's not going to be my team. That's just the first. There's better ones. Well, I say better ones. That's not what I'm going with. But that's.
Well, yeah.
Those 2 goalkeepers.
There's obviously better ones than this. This is bad. I don't like this. Anything about this.
Go on then. Talk about it. Go on.
Okay. All right. Where do I start?
Strap yourself
Well,
in.
firstly, Pope is a great goalkeeper. I like Pope. Burnley are good. They keep clean sheets. Don't mind him at all. The problem with Pope is there's a little number just below him, which says 5.4 million.
Yeah.
And that's combined with a 4.5 goalkeeper. So you're paying 9.9 million for 2 goalkeepers.
But hold on. The goalkeeper position in a double game week when you're bench boosting it is actually really important, because there'll be no one without a wild card with 2 playing keepers. No one, right? There'll be no one out there who isn't playing their wildcard. It'll only be wildcard bench boost managers who have 2 active keepers. Nobody else will have. So if there's one position I can get an advantage, it's in the goalkeeper position.
Agreed. But Johnston has Wolves away and West Ham away.
Yeah.
Not expecting massive points from him in those. Plus, don't forget that the problem with this team, which is my main note of the whole team, is this isn't a free hit team for the double game week. This is a team you're going to be stuck with after this. You're going to be stuck with Stevens, Balbuena. Let me look at your defence.
I'm not going to do that, though.
You're going from 2 City defenders to a horrific defence.
Yeah, that's why I'm not doing that. But yeah, go on. Yeah, but yeah,
double lead strikers. What's that about?
I don't think Rodrigo and Bamford. I don't think that's a problem, because I've got Brewster on the bench at the moment who's done nothing for me. The only problem is it's tying up an extra 1.2. But if KDB's not coming back in, then I don't think it's too much of a problem having Rodrigo in there as my 3rd striker. I mean, at the moment, I'm quite sold on Rodrigo, because you've got to I've got to get as many active players in game week 19 as I can. I've got to get 3 strikers, really. Right? It's not going to be these 3, but it's going to be Bamford, and I think it is going to be Rodrigo, because I look at Leeds and think Leeds are a gift in this double game week. Right? The 2 teams that I'm looking at for this double game week are West Ham, who have got Burnley at home and West Brom at home, right? And Leeds, who have Brighton at home and Southampton at home, right? And what we know about Leeds is their defence is very vulnerable, despite keeping a clean sheet today against Burnley. I mean, to be honest, they should have conceded, because that was a goal that Barnes scored. Yep. And in fact, Burnley had more chances. So what we know about Leeds is they're an attacking team, they have loads of chances, but they concede lots of goals, right? So I look at Leeds and think, well, I'm not getting a Leeds defender, but I need to have 3 Leeds players in for these 2 fixtures. So the free Bamford's a given, right? Everyone's going to have him low, so I get no advantage there because everyone, wildcarding or not, is going to have Bamford, right? So I need to go heavy on the Leeds attack. And for me, the best 2 players, if you're going to go heavy on the Leeds attack, are Raphinha and Rodrigo. One of the reasons is because when one of them scores, there's not a mistaken identity because they look so bloody similar. I just want to eliminate that because I don't want that moment of Raphinha scores, I jump in the air and it's Rodrigo and I don't have him because that could happen, right? So having Raphinha and Rodrigo eliminates the mistaken identity problem. But I honestly think they're the best 2 attacking players to have other than Bamford. Do you agree with that? No, not for a free hit, because, I mean...
You don't want these players long-term. You don't want a Bamford and Rodrigo double up.
I know I don't want them long-term, but then what you're doing is you're saying, well, I'm not going to get on the Leeds attack when they are clearly the
having Bamford, Raphinha and Dallas, Raphinha and Bamford are the clear 3 to go with, I think, from Leeds.
Why would you back the Leeds defence, though, when they're
Because you're not backing the Leeds defence, you're backing Dallas.
Possibly.
He's the most attacking defender in the game, statistically.
But
he's a good long-term pick. He's not just for 1 week. You've got in a decent attacking defender going forward.
Rodrigo's not going to hurt me long-term. That 1.2 million is not going to murder me long-term. Who have they got actually afterwards? Let's see. What's their run like? I mean, because Bamford is no advantage, right? So Bamford, you can discount him. Their fixtures afterwards aren't bad. I mean, when you look at that, it's not bad at all. So there's no guarantee. For, Everton and Palace at home, for example, even Newcastle away and Southampton at home. Okay, Newcastle away, Everton home, Palace at home. Rodrigo could play in those games for me. Why wouldn't he? He's playing every game at the moment, and he's getting as many shots as Bamford at times. So if you look at minutes per chance, he's right up there as well. So I don't think he's a terrible pick.
The one thing I will say is that in that spot, I've got Che Adams, who...
Right.
Is all right, is okay, but would I bet my house on him outscoring Rodrigo? Probably not. But would I rather have Che Adams? Probably.
Would you?
Yeah, but I don't think there's. But to me, the triple up with Leeds is fairly obvious.
Yeah, you've got to treble up on Leeds, right? And again, people without their wildcard have got Dallas, so I'll be signing a player which is already in a lot of teams who aren't wildcarding. So again, I've got to go for players that are going to get me rank. I've got to go for different makers, haven't I?
You've got to bear in mind that you're going to be stuck with these players afterwards.
Yeah, but you're talking about Rodrigo and Raphinha. Those 2 I can see. But as you've seen there, the Leeds fixtures aren't terrible. You've got Raphinha, so he's not.
He's good though. You're going to have to sort out Rodrigo, Taylor, Stevens, Balbuena.
Forget that.
Your goalkeepers.
Right. Let's
move on. I hate it. Next,
let's move on. Right, okay. So this is with both. I'm not doing this either, but this is with both Spurs and keeping my City defenders and keeping James as well. Right. So this is a bit more solid at the back. It's still got the same front line and it's still got the same keepers. I'm kind of sold on these 2, right? Because the other thing is I'm probably going to do Fabianski in for Pope ahead of Gameweek 19 because Fabianski's fixtures in Gameweek 19 are stronger than Pope's. I'm getting Pope for the next 2 because over the next 2, well, I've got to make a transfer in 19, haven't I? What? I've got 2 transfers to make. I've got to do something with them. You're not picking the team now. No, but what would you do with your transfers then? Because I'm looking at don't forget in 17, if I don't use it in 17, I lose it because I'm free hitting in 18, right? So you can't carry a transfer over. So I've got to make 2 transfers before the double game week as well. So what I'm picking now isn't the team that has to be out there in game week 19. So I am allowed to say I'm going to change that player because I've got 2 transfers to use. So why are you frowning when I say I'm going to change?
Because a goalkeeper transfer.
I've just said to you
wildcard.
How important the one position that I think I can make ground on is the goalkeeper. Because I know that people will be sitting there going, I'm not selling Martinez. No way. I can bet there'll be people with wildcards who won't sell Martinez, let alone people without them. So, and I know Martinez could get 3 blanks. So therefore, if I have a goalkeeper, if I get 4 clean sheets, 2 out of Pope and 2 out of Fabianski, which looking at their fixtures isn't out of the realms of possibility, then that's a big gain on those who keep Martinez, unless Martinez does keep a clean sheet. which I don't think he can.
I'm just amazed with how much weight you're putting on the goalkeepers.
Because you've got to look at the positions and go, where am I? Like Bamford, I've got to have him, but that gets me nothing. Fernandes, got to have him, gets me nothing. Salah, got to have him, gets me nothing. Son, a lot of managers have got Son, whether they're wildcarding or not. So if I have him, probably gets me no ground at all. So then I'm kind of looking at my bloody City defenders again, and they haven't even got double game week. So I've got to have positions where I look at them and think that's where my ground is going to be made up. And there aren't many. There really aren't many. I'm relying on just getting the fact that I've got more players playing twice. Souček, everyone's going to have Souček, aren't they? Whether they're wildcarding or not, Souček will be in a lot of teams. So where are my difference makers? And I do really think we've seen double game weeks before where Fabianski's got like 14, 15 points over 2 games. So it is a really important position because no one's going to make a transfer in goal. No one without a wild card is going to make a transfer in goal. So I know right now, sitting here now, no one without a wild card in the next 2 game weeks is going to change their goalkeeper because they just don't. So already having 2 active keepers is an advantage. If you've got keepers that also keep clean sheets over those next 4 fixtures, I could gain a lot of ground. I know it sounds silly, but it's true because Fabianski and Pope are keepers that can get bonus. And if they keep clean sheets, they probably will. So we're not just talking 6 points versus Martinez getting 3 or 4. We're talking maybe 8, 9 points against Martinez getting 3 or 4, unless Martinez pulls a clean sheet out, which he could. But you got to think I've got to play the fixtures. So I think the keeper position, I know you're saying, well, it's stupid putting so much stock into that. I don't know where else I can go because I don't think there's major advantages that I can find elsewhere other than going big on West Ham and big on Leeds because they've got the best fixtures. So that's kind of like the bigger picture. That's how I'm thinking. And that's why I'm spending so much money on the goalkeeping positions because I think that's where I can get the most ground back. You don't agree?
The chat is really, really, really interesting. So we first of all, we've got 2,800 people watching, which is like just ridiculously the most amount we've ever had. I think our best ever was about 1,800, right? So I think we've honestly got about 1,000 more than I think we've ever had. So yeah, if everyone's watching, like and sub, smash that button, as we always say, which is great. The chat is brilliant. People are very divided over your goalkeeper thing. I had a really nice message to me which saying, I think Mark knows what he's doing, back down. So it's like, oh yeah, okay, so I'll just accept everything you say. That'd be a good stream, wouldn't it? Just me going, oh yeah, Mark, that's great, yeah, you're really good at this, yeah, well done. Oh,
no, don't do
great
that. No, don't do that. No, I expect a bit of slack for that.
It is. I mean, honestly, it's very 50-50. You know, a lot of people think you're completely right with the goalkeeper moves. Other people kind of agree with me and think you're putting a bit too much weight on the wild card. Like the foundations of a wild card being built around goalkeepers to me just seems a little bit strange. This team to me looks better. This probably won't what I do.
But going back to the goalkeepers, I know there are people without the wild card going, They wouldn't want me to get Pope because they're looking at his next two and going, yeah, he could get a couple of clean sheets. And if he does, he could get bonus. And if I've got Martinez and he doesn't get clean sheets, that's going to be a swing of 4 or 5 points at least each time. And then if I then get Fabianski in and he's got his 2 home games against Burnley and West Brom, which also suggest clean sheets, probably won't be, but good chance. That's 4 clean sheets against Martinez, who only has 3 games, and all those 3 games I don't think he'll keep clean sheets in. So that's about, if it all comes in, could be about a difference of around 20 points. I don't see any other position where I can make that difference. So that's why I've gone, actually, goalkeepers are important to me. Because of the situation Martinez is in.
Equally, they're the position where there could be a fluky goal or something just goes wrong.
Of course.
And it all goes wrong.
But that could happen anywhere, couldn't it? Like I could get Trent and Robertson in, and the same could happen to them, like it did today, and that'd be an awful lot more money than I'm playing for Pope. I mean, I've seen a lot of wildcards with McCarthy and Johnston, right? I don't get that because McCarthy doesn't have great fixtures, and I'm not that against your goalkeepers.
at all. I think if I was going to be picking goalkeepers, I'd be looking at Johnston because he's probably the cheapest one you're going to get.
Yeah, he is. And I think the way Big Sam's going to set up against the game, Wolves don't score many goals. West Ham can be stopped scoring goals, so I think he could sneak a clean sheet in one of those games.
Yeah, I'd probably be looking at Johnston and Fabianski. So it's like you would. So it's not completely ridiculous in terms of the money and stuff. The problem I had was when I looked at it with the rest of your team in the last week, because I thought you're going to have, after this double game week's passed, it looked like you'd have lots of fires to put out, with all these different ones that I mentioned. Whereas at least with this team, you'd be rocking with Fabianski and Johnston kind of long term, which seems completely viable.
My intention is to take Pope out, put Fabianski in for the double, as long as I don't have an injury elsewhere, or depends what I've got here. Because I've got to make a transfer.
But Pope has the double as well.
He does, but he has West Ham away and Liverpool away, and I think Fabianski will outscore him. And as I said, I'd see this position as quite crucial. If I get it right, I mean, it is surprising how well keepers do over double game weeks because of the save points. And I know, as I say, that managers who don't have their wild card, there is no way they're going to spend their transfers between now and 19 on their keepers. So I know absolutely they're not going to be able to cover that.
I don't necessarily agree with that either, because I'm looking at my team. Well, I'm looking at my team for next week, and I'm in a decent-ish nick. I've got my entire team, bar my goalkeeper and Son, have got the double game week coming up. So I'm not selling Son before Fulham. I could lose Martinez.
Okay.
I've got a bit of money in the bank, and I could move him to Mendy. I could move him to Fabianski. I could even move him to McCarthy. I'm not completely against losing Martinez, because I do think the next 4 games he's got, I would expect Villa to concede in all 4.
Yeah, but you are free hitting, so you don't have to worry about 18, and you'll also have 10 players already at that double game week. So I don't think your typical case. Right, number one, I think most managers will probably have about 7 or 8 double game week players. And number two, some of them aren't even going to free hit either. So they're not going to... I think the keeper transfer is a luxury transfer. If you're going to do that, then I think that means you're in a good position. I think you've got yourself... Mainly because you've spent 8 points now, haven't you? So you've got 3 more in. So that transfer helps you.
If you think any goalkeeper is going to outscore Martinez over the next 4 or 5 games by 4 points, then a 4-point hit set your goalkeeper out's worth it.
Yeah.
Which is the other way of looking at it.
Arguably, but I think the problem with Martinez is he's someone that you're going to think you're going to want back in. And, that's in the back of my mind. So...
You haven't got the value tied up in him like a lot of you, because you bought him quite late.
No, that's true as well. Yeah, I mean, that's another reason why players won't get rid of him. But, I only just got him in for the last couple. So I do think that is one advantage that I've got, in that I know that it's unlikely people are going to cover me on Pope. And Pope will probably, he probably could concede in those games. But what we know about Burnley is they've just lost at Leeds and they're right in it now. And the next 2 games, Fulham and is it Fulham and Brighton?
It's Sheffield
United and Fulham, right? Sheffield United don't pose much of a goal threat. They're really struggling to score goals. I think a clean sheet, that's as good as it gets, I think. Other than West Brom at home, that's as good as it gets. And then... Burnley have got Fulham. Fulham have got a threat about them. But I think that Deitch, we know he does it every time, doesn't he? He'll grind out a 1-0. And you just see it coming, don't you? And in that scenario, Pope does well, right? So I just think there are 2 clean sheets on the table for Pope. It might not happen. Fulham could easily score. Brewster could score. Who knows, right? So
I did not expect 25 minutes of our late night wildcard stream on the beers to be talking about
I knew it would be. I knew it would be, because it is a controversial one, because a lot of people are saving money in that position. But I just think that it's a position to exploit, because I think that it's going to be one that will be hard for non-wildcard managers to cover. Because I think they're going to be more interested in getting Souček in. Obviously, Bamford, if they haven't got them. Certainly, there are other players that are going to be like Kufau and defenders that they're going to prioritise over their goalkeeper. Because I think they'll look at Martinez and go, well, he'll get save points, even if he doesn't keep clean sheets. And I want to keep him. And I've got money tied up in him, like you say, so I'll leave him alone. So it's the one area of my team where I think that could be the biggest swing. I don't like in defence. I think it's difficult because a lot of people have Robertson already, right? So
also it's the biggest way for you to differentiate your team, but it's also probably the lowest impact.
Well, yeah, it probably is on paper, but it's surprising how, like I said, it's surprising how well the goalkeepers can do in a double game week. So
I don't really agree with some of it. I mean, you've got. I mean, Cancelo and Diaz are both 5% owned, so you're looking quite heavily into the Twitter circle and thinking about, making big differentials. But they are still differentials on the run. I mean,
yeah, but they don't have a double game week. They don't have a double game week.
Well, no, they don't. But I just mean looking at your team and thinking about who you differential. I mean, I bet Kufal's ownership isn't that high. I see him in pretty much every team, 4.8%.
Yeah.
So you are going to still make strides. Raphinha is really low. Souček's is still really low.
Yeah, but you're talking about the global game. I'm talking about the managers that we compare ourselves to week, right? In all our leagues. Look in the Elite 64 league and look how many people are going to get Soufal in. A lot.
But realistically, should you be focusing on them?
Well,
the aim is just to get as many points as possible and
possibly
finish high in the ranks, and then we look great. We get loads of sponsors. We get signed up to Soccer Saturday.
Yeah,
we talked about this. We talked about our plan.
What the path to glory? Well, yeah,
the path to Soccer Saturday.
There is that. Yeah, I mean, if I was playing just for high rank, then I would play safe probably. Yeah, I mean, but it's two ways of looking at it, isn't it? It's like I've either got to attack this bench boost or I play safe and I keep Grealish and I keep Martinez and I keep Calvert-Lewin. And it's easy. I could do that. I can make a couple of changes in defence, take De Bruyne out and stick Son in to cover Son. I mean, yeah, I could do that, but it would seem to me like a wasted opportunity. And I know there are people doing that now, right? There are people who are going to play safer than me for sure, right? Maybe that's. I'm going
to move this on a little bit because I think we talked enough about both, to be honest. So Tom Olsen, in the chat, he makes a very good point here, which is not Liverpool defence.
Oh yeah, this is this team, right? So I can swap the teams around. I've got another team with Liverpool defenders in.
If you'd asked me yesterday to pick a wild card, there's absolutely no way my wild card wouldn't have either Trent or Robertson in it. After watching them today, I'm not so sure. Yeah,
but the problem is, I'm not so sure about Son and Kane either. So as I said, the basis of my two, my strategy going into this before today was either I'm going to have two Spurs or I'm going to have two Liverpool. Right. So this next team, still with Pope and Johnston, still with Rodrigo. A certain name up front appeared there. This has got the two Liverpool defenders in. Still the Man City defence.
Oh my God, you've got Chris Wood.
So that's very strong. Yeah. And Chris Wood is up front for his two games coming up, who are favourable fixtures, right? I think Wood will outscore Adams over the next two. I do. Well, a lot of people are going Shea Adams, but you look at Wood and, he's having... I did a comparison of him and Calvert-Lewin. He's actually having more shots more frequently than Calvert-Lewin, and a lot of people are keeping him. So I don't think Wood's a bad signing, given that I think Dyche will look at those games coming up and go, we've got to win them. Right? They've got to get results against Fulham and against Sheffield United at home. Right? So if they're going to get results in those games, Wood's going to be in the points. They might not, right? They
Chat's
could lose
going mad.
Chat
is going mad.
But I think Chris Wood for the next two is an okay signing, and he's got a double, right? And if I have to keep him, he's there for the double, and he's got Liverpool and West Ham. Not great, but at least he'll get two sets of 2 points. But I think Chris Wood over the next two is a good player to own. Well, why not? If they're not going to score goals against Sheffield United and Fulham at home, then they're going to go down, right? And I think they're going to sneak wins in those games, probably. In all likelihood, Dyche will mastermind 2 victories in those games.
Well, the chat is absolutely mostly with Chris Wood related puns. Right. So thanks for that. Right, so impressed with everyone. You're like a school teacher.
No, I'm not surprised. I mean, again, Wood is a controversial player, right? Whenever you're bringing Burnley players into your team, you expect to get a bit of flack for it, right? I understand that, but the 2 games they've got coming up are must-win games against opponents they can beat. And when you're picking any 2 players from Burnley, Pope and Wood are probably the most reliable.
But why are you picking 2 players from Burnley?
Because they've got 2 good fixtures coming up.
And they're crap.
So do you not think...
They're so bad.
So do you not think that Burnley
probably
will win
both games? Well, probably no. I don't think they will win both games.
All right. So Sheffield United are going to score, are they? Against
maybe. Burnley. Come on, they're not like the Man City with 2 good games. They could easily concede in both of those games. They could easily score no goals in both those games.
Absolutely.
They'll win 1-0 and they'll draw the other 1-1. That's my prediction.
Right. So they're going to score 2 goals. So Wood's not going to score either goal. And that's 1 clean sheet for Pope. That's not a bad return, right? I'll take that. If Wood gets 1 goal and Pope gets 1 clean sheet, that's probably 2 sets of bonus right there as well.
I can't believe this wildcard is you talking about the merits of Pope and Wood. My mind is. This is why you're good at this game and I'm not, because I would never have thought in a million years to be looking at these things. Oh, Karam's in the chat. Right. He's a massive.
He loves Chris Wood, doesn't he?
Yeah. I think we've got locked in a cage in the moment. He's hurt him so much.
So Karam will back me up. Right, so a lot of people are getting Che Adams in, right? Game week 16, he's got West Ham at home. Fine, right? Good game, but no Danny Ings. Arguably, I don't think without Danny Ings, Southampton are much more of a threat than Burnley, to be honest. But I mean, the stats probably bear that out as well if we look with that. But after that, they've got Liverpool at home. So how can Che Adams be a great signing for the next 2 game weeks?
Did you see Liverpool today?
Yeah, but I honestly don't see Southampton without Danny Ings causing Liverpool too many problems. I just don't see it because it takes so much of their attacking verve out when you go. I mean, Che Adams, they didn't score at Fulham, so why will they score at home to West Ham and at home to Liverpool? So why is Wood a worse player than Che Adams? He's not.
I'm not saying Wood's a worse. Hang on, don't put words in my mouth. I just find it very, very funny. I just find it funny that
this is how you got to think of it, right? Parts. You've got to look at that. I mean, it's easier to go, Che Adams got 2 games in Game Week 19. He's in a better team than Burnley. I'll have Che Adams. Yeah, that's easy to say. But if you look at the 2 games going into Game Week 19, I think Wood has got better games. I really do. And the fact that Burnley lost at Leeds today and they put up a decent fight means that I think those games are really important to them. And Wood's on penalties. Is Che Adams on penalties? No, he's not. Wood's on penalties. So you got that as well. I'm not saying they're going to win a penalty, but there's a chance, right? So I think Wood is a better player for an identical price than Che Adams for the next 2 game weeks. He might not be for Game Week 19. I'll give you that because Wood goes to Liverpool. I think he's got West Ham and the other games.
And Southampton are a better team than Burnley.
Yeah, don't dispute that.
A in general and B attacking wise.
But they
haven't got Ings.
They just failed to score at Fulham, right? So I don't think they're great shakes without Ings. No. And he's not going to be back, I don't think. He might be back.
But you could argue that Burnley failed to score against Leeds, who are maybe even worse.
Well, they didn't, though. They did score a legitimate goal, but that wasn't ruled out. But
Ashley Barnes, it
was a good goal. He took it well.
Did you watch it today?
I saw the goal, yeah. I didn't watch the entire game, but I saw.
Ashley Barnes is just such a funny player to watch. He'll score a wonder goal or he gets sent off. He's exciting. You should get him in.
Yeah, well, yeah, Wood's on pens.
Get him in over Rodrigo. Go for the triple up.
So Robertson. So this lineup here, this was one that this was actually the one I was going to go with. This is the one I made last night. I say last night. It was about 1:30. Ian Irving actually texted me about 12:30 saying, Mark, whatever you do, I've noticed you've done well recently and I've watched you rise up the ranks. Please don't overthink your wild card. And when that text came through, I was in bed with playing, basically overthinking my wild card. So it came in and I said to him, yeah, I'm doing it right now, in fact. And I sent him a tweet. And and I was up to 1:30. And this is what I left with. And I woke up this morning and think, yeah, I'm happy with this. And then obviously Liverpool didn't keep the clean sheet against West Brom. And that's put doubt in my head about having the 2 Liverpool fullbacks now. But I do think this is the strongest one. Go on.
I don't love it again.
What's your problem with it?
My problem, aside from Chris Wood, my problem with it is you've got a lot of money in defence. You're banking on the 2 double ups of Liverpool and City. The City double up, I think, is a good double up. Obviously, don't have the double. And then the Liverpool double up, I'm not so sure about. What you could do is take some money out of Robertson or Trent and upgrade Son to Mane.
I know.
And if you really want if you're talking about differentials and what to do, attack Liverpool, getting a lot of goals in those games.
There you go. Right. So this is what I came up with this evening after After
there you go. Not even planned.
Yeah. So I did exactly that. I went, actually, I'll just have one of the Liverpool fullbacks. I probably won't keep James, but I'll leave James in there for now and have a tinker with, because I've got, this one gives me 0.6 in the bank, so I can upgrade James somewhere else, right? It gives me Mane.
And that's the one.
This is the latest one, and the one that I'm probably going to go with as of tonight and see how I go in the morning, right? Because I've run this few at Rate My Team as well, and it does the best as well. And with this one, I'm not overcommitting on the Liverpool defence. I'm getting Mane in, who is obviously a good bet, right? And he's going to be... I think a lot of people who got De Bruyne, who haven't got a wild card, will try and get Mane in, and some will be able to because they'll have money in the bank, but others it'll be more difficult. In this scenario, I'd still have a transfer in 17 that I really don't know what I'd do with, but the bloody bullshit thing is I can't roll it over to 19, because when you play the free hit in 18, it wipes your transfers out, which is a real ball ache. It really is, because if I could roll 2 over to game week 19, I would then take Wood out and take Pope out and go Fabianski in goal and probably Adams in attack, or even Antonio if he was fit. And apparently tonight he had a kickabout after the game, trained quite vigorously. So there's a possibility he makes those games, right? So I can make one transfer in 19, which probably will be Pope to Fabianski. I might take it. If Antonio was fit and I thought he was going to play both games, I probably would take a 4-point hit.
Yeah, it's too.
But it's too risky, isn't it?
It's too late, isn't it? If he played, if he got like 30 minutes today or something, it's,
because he could break down as well.
Possibly, exactly.
Break down.
Yeah.
But this is the one that I'm probably going to go with as of now, right? Whether I keep James, I don't know, because I don't think James plays. I don't think James plays against Villa. I think Dave will come in. I'm not even going to say Aspilicueta after a couple of beers. But I think James.
You said it perfectly.
Well, maybe it needs to be. Maybe I need to get drunk before I do any FBL content. See if I can say Aubameyang. I can. Fucking hell.
Oh my god!
I just need to be drunk.
Cracked it. We cracked it.
With James, I think he will play both games in 19, because I think that the fact he got brought back in for Arsenal shows how much Lampard thinks he needs him. I think he will rest him against Villa. Although that's interesting, isn't it, Villa? Because El Ghazi out there on the right hand. Oh no, it'd be Grealish up against James, wouldn't it? Oh, is he going to play Dave against Grealish? That's a really tough decision for Lampard, because I was thinking, well, James isn't going to play against Villa, but actually now when I think about it, Grealish will turn Dave. Is Aspilicueta a better defender against Grealish than James?
That wasn't it.
Okay. Is the Spanish veteran fullback for Chelsea a better option against Grealish than James? That's a question for you.
Well, I think if both are fully fit, then probably not. I think James is a very good defender and he's having a great season. But I don't think James is fully fit based on what I saw. I think he was rushed back into the team.
See, Grealish will probably play central anyway. He hasn't been playing out on the left. Yeah. Troy always been playing there. But
I mean, this is the reason when I was debating who to sell out of James and Chilwell, and I actually asked Ben Dinnery for his advice, and Ben said keep Chilwell. James is going to be managed.
Yeah,
he was surprised that he played. He was saying he's not quite right. There's something not quite right there.
Well,
plus he's got the extra competition.
Injury, Chilwell's a one-off in ankle turn, whereas James is an ongoing problem, right? So
I don't think I'd be keeping James on a wild card.
No,
personally.
This is it.
But because there's two things I think with this team. One is no Spurs, and you talk about the fixtures of Pope and Wood. But you do know Spurs have got Fulham and Leeds.
Yeah, but I can't have Mane and get Son on Kane, can I?
Yeah, but you could be banking a transfer of instead of doing Pope to bloody Fabianski, you could be looking at a way of doing Son to Mane.
So I could get Son in for the next 2 and then get Mane in for 19. Yeah. Is what I could do. Yeah, I did look at that. I did think, well, I'll save the money, get Son in for the next 2 to cover Spurs, then get Mane in for the double. That's not out of the question. That's not out of the question at all.
And the other surprising thing here is no Leicester, because I really do.
Well, it could be.
You're not going to get Vardy. I don't think that's going to happen. But I'll tell you who I've been really, really impressed with, and he's someone who I owned last year and didn't really think that much of, and kind of thought he wouldn't still be in the team by now. But James Justin,
yeah,
I tell you what, he is looking some player.
Well, he would come in for James.
Out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Pereira's out for a while, and I'm actually looking at getting Justin in this week.
Yeah, he's
for that double.
I noted that he is about to go up in price tonight. I think he's on the
I'll probably move for him tonight.
So him in for James would be the move I'd make. Because then for 16 and 17, I probably would play Alexander-Arnold, Cancelo and Diaz for the next two. Even though City are at Chelsea, I think City could go to Chelsea and keep a clean sheet. I think they could just hold the ball. It's not out of the question. It's 50-50. I think they'll keep a clean sheet at Everton. Everton without Rodriguez, without Dina. I don't know if Richarlison's fit. I think City keep a clean sheet at Everton. So I've got no qualms in playing Liverpool, Alexander-Arnold, Cancelo and Diaz for the next two. And then in 19, James Justin comes in. So that's what I could do. But the Mane Son thing is an issue. Yeah, it's like, or do I look at Spurs are difficult though, aren't they? Because we just don't know what we're going to get from Spurs for these next two games. Because Fulham are actually defensively not that brittle anymore, right?
I know. Yeah.
So Fulham will go there with a plan, and Spurs will have to break them down. And we know that isn't their strength. Their strength is to counter. So I don't know what we're going to get from Spurs against Fulham. And then, it's difficult, isn't it? Sheffield United in game week 19. Game week 17, they've got Leeds. Leeds is the game where you think Son could have a field day, isn't it?
Yep.
So that
either them, I think.
Do you?
Think, if you're, I think that game in general is just going to suit Spurs. You look at Palace. Imagine the complete opposite of the Palace game. That's what they're probably going to get with the Leeds game. I don't know. One player we haven't talked about is Rashford, because you've got Fernandes in there as well. Rashford would be someone that I'd potentially be looking at as well, given that he's got Wolves at home, Villa at home. They haven't been amazing at home, but still two not bad games. But then in the double, Liverpool away, then Fulham, and then he comes right off that Fulham game into Sheffield United at home, which is quite nice. So that's another thing that you could potentially. I think I think there is definitely plenty of ways to create quite an exciting differential team on the wildcard. I really like Mane though. I think going with if I was wildcarding, I would definitely not go with double Liverpool defence now.
Yeah. Well, no.
I've just bought them in for a mind's sake.
That's the conclusion I came to after today. I probably want one just in case, because I do look at their fixtures. Newcastle and Southampton. Newcastle, okay, Wilson will play, but I don't. Liverpool can control that game and keep a clean sheet there. Southampton definitely, without Ings, they can keep a clean sheet there. So I do think there's a chance of clean sheets, right? So I'd want one to cover it. And I was going to go Matip, but he's so fragile, isn't he? And Trent is obviously a differential because people will have Robertson, who has looked better, granted, but Trent's got it in his locker, hasn't he? So I'll go Trent if I go one. The issue is, does Son outscore Mane over these next two? Mane at Newcastle and Southampton could keep pace with Son. He could.
Yeah, he could. Yeah, it's true.
Quite easily. Yeah. Because the thing is with Spurs is they're not going to run riot. If they I guess the danger of the Leeds game is Leeds attack and it turns into a 4-3 or something like that, which it could do. Right? I don't think Fulham, there's a big haul in it. I think Spurs could win that 2-0. But I don't know if Mourinho will go, right, we're 2-0 up, keep going, get 3 or 4 goals. He will probably go, right, we're 2-0 up, we'll take Son off after 70 minutes and Kane off with 10 minutes to go because he needs a rest at some point. I'm not going to not start him. So I don't trust Mourinho to go and beat Fulham 5-0 because he'll put the handbrake on. Leeds, he might have to score 4 goals because Leeds might get 3 or 4 themselves. So that's the danger fixture, yeah.
Well, I think if you're thinking about if your main priority is kind of getting one up on other people, look at Son. I mean, Son 62% owned.
Yeah.
So you are really gaining nothing from Son. This is why going for someone like Rashford or going for someone like Mane, like you've got, I think it's a risk, because obviously they could do well in those two games. They're good games for them. But if you don't think he's going to do that well against Fulham, you're 50-50 whether Leeds is going to be amazing or not. The thing is,
I've done well in the last two game weeks because Kane and Son have blanked.
Yeah.
The reason why I've got 2 green arrows is because I haven't got Kane and Son, so I haven't got the money tied up in them. And so managers who have got that have lost ground on me, because we've all got Salah and Fernandes, but I've got a few different. So I've gained ground. So I've got to look at it and think, am I going to be a bit of a scaredy cat and go, I've got to cover Son and Kane, which was one of my strategies? Or am I going to be ballsy and go, no, I'm going to find players who are going to outscore them? It's a tough one. I think I'll go with this. I think I'll back Mane over Son. I think I'll say Mane will outscore him. Again, I think he plays. Like Mane, having dropped points today, I can't see Klopp resting his front three now. If he had Jota, I think he might do. What do you think? Do you think Salah, Mane and Firmino play every game now?
Well, I mean, dropping points at home to West Brom, it's got I don't know, it's hard to say, because what is the priority? It's easy to say they've dropped points, they shouldn't rest anyone. But equally, if the medical team is advising to rest Firmino or to rest Mane or to rest someone, you know, Trent's been injured for a while. Is he gonna potentially have a rest? Robertson's played like every game ever. Does he need a rest? It feels like a bit of a dangerous game to try and really predict it. I think I'm kind of just going to run with the assumption that everyone's going to play their strongest team at all times, and it's probably wrong, but trying to second guess and predict is too hard. I mean, look at Diaz. I mean, everyone is waiting for that Diaz benching, which I don't think is ever going to come. I think Pep's just going to play him from now until, you know, he literally collapses from exhaustion, because
I don't think he trusts anyone else in there.
Exactly.
Right? He trusts Stones with Diaz. He trusts Ake with Diaz and Laporte with Diaz, right? I don't think he trusts. Once you take Diaz out, he's worried, I think.
Well, they're all left-footed, aren't they? Laporte, Stones, and Ake.
Well, Ake and Stones are. Is Laporte left-footed? He is because he played left. Well, he played left.
So they haven't got a right back replacement. So it'd have to probably be Fernandinho.
Garcia, I guess.
Garcia, but he's not good enough.
He's injured, so
he's injured. not a good combination.
I don't think Diaz is. The fixtures.
Stones is right-footed.
Is he right-footed?
So
okay.
Ignore that.
Okay. But I don't see Diaz getting rested. I guess he's an intelligent player, right? He conserves energy when he can. I mean, Lord knows they don't have too much defending to do they? I mean, at times, Stones and Diaz can rest during matches. Not being funny, but they can. I don't think they'll have that opportunity against Chelsea and Everton. I think Calvert-Lewin will give them a hard time, and certainly Chelsea will. So they're harder games. So I think he plays. Cancelo, I would have said, was a rest risk, but not while Walker's got COVID. So he's definitely going to play. He's going to play the next two. He might not play the 19 fixture. So that could be the case that he doesn't play then. So I guess I'm taking a risk there that I don't get a player out then. But the thing is with Cancelo, I want him. I'm going to want him from game week 20 onwards. Him and Diaz, definitely. The more I see Cancelo, the more I think, I don't think Pep can play without him, because he's becoming so important to the way they play. He likes his fullbacks to tuck in. He's so good at that. He brings so much. I mean, he created more than De Bruyne in that game at the weekend. He put on 2 big chances created. He had several other crosses. He played a part in both goals. He's becoming too important to them, I think. He's a bit like
Lamptey in the sense that he looks amazing, but isn't getting the returns. So there's 2 things. One thing is, surely one's coming at some point. Like, he's going to get a 15-pointer probably in the future, which is how I've always felt about Lamptey. But secondly, Cancelo has got the fallback of getting those clean sheets, which Brighton weren't getting. So I think Cancelo is such a good pick at the moment, because he's better than Walker. He can play on the left side as well, where he doesn't really trust Mendy. So who's first choice left back? it's probably Cancelo anyway, and he's also first choice right back. So he's first choice for 2 positions. I mean, how often do you see that? His attacking potential is amazing, and they're getting the clean sheets. And Walker's got coronavirus, so who knows how he's going to be out?
Yeah.
Yeah, I really think Cancelo is.
So I want to keep them too, even though they haven't got double game week, because they're immediately players I want. I mean, Grealish is another player I'm probably going to want back, and it's very likely I will go Mane to Grealish, depending on how Mane does for me straight away. Yeah, because Villa's fixtures aren't bad after the double. They put it. Let's have a look. I'm going to check what Grealish's fixtures are after the double. They're very good. So he's got Burnley away, Southampton away, West Ham at home, Arsenal at home, Brighton away. So they've got a run of 5 where I'm going to want Grealish back. So having either Mane or Son or Rashford in that slot means I can move back to Grealish without too much pain. So that'll be the first. It means I will be taking probably Rodrigo and Wood into game week 20.
Here we go. Now the cracks start to appear.
Well, that is. I mean, that's it. It's very hard to attack the bench boost and not have a bit of that, though, isn't it? I mean, it's very difficult, right? Because
which is why a lot of people prefer to play the bench boost later on in the season when you've got less game weeks. If you play at game week 34, 35, when there's doubles, there's less impact on the rest of the season, which is why I've liked doing that.
In that team, there, the players that I'm going to probably likely want to get rid of, if I get. Yeah, could be Pope if I keep him. If Fabianski doesn't come in because he'd be too expensive. Well, having Pope a bit longer is not the end of the world. It's just the money. It'll be Wood and Rodrigo and possibly Raphinha. I don't think any of my defence. If I've got James Justin in, Trent, Cancelo, Diaz, and Kufau, I don't think that's bad. I think that's all right. It's a decent balance of money as well. Maybe a bit much, but it's all right. It's Rodrigo, Raphinha, and Wood are the players that I'm carrying that I would want to get rid of, and Grealish will be the priority, so I wouldn't be able to change them straight away unless I start taking. I guess my tactic is do well in game week 19, get lots of points, and then have a bit of budget to spend hits with if you really have to.
Good tactic, that.
I mean, there's no. I mean, if I end up doing very well, getting 100+ points, and non-bench boosters get 60. I've got 40 points over them that I can spend some of that. So it's not the end of the world doing that as long as the bench boost works. The worst scenario is, of course, the bench boost is an utter disaster. Which,
as it so often is.
It never, I was going to say, it never is. We're talking wild speculation here. Exactly. But I've got a choice. I either play conservatively and go, well, I'm going to keep Grealish, I'm going to keep Calvert-Lewin because they're players that are so, they're so basically ensconced in the community. We all want them, we all need them. Or I go for it on the basis that I can get Grealish back. Calvert-Lewin I might not want back until Everton get back to full staff in terms of Dina, Richarlison and Rodriguez anyway. But Grealish is the one. And then, I've got Rodrigo, Raphinha and Wood. Is it disastrous? Wood probably, yes. Probably. Wood's the real problem. The problem is there aren't any, apart from Kane and Vardy, there aren't any strikers out there who you'd want to take beyond 19.
It's really poor, isn't it? And, at the start of the season, there were so many with, there was Ings, Kane, Vardy, Adams, Richarlison, Calvert-Lewin. You had Werner, everyone was interested in. You had Mopé, even like Watkins. But now they're all just a bit like, all just a bit. By the way, Mopé scoring, bugger off.
Loved it. Things you love to see. I mean, Burnley.
Martial, people say.
Burnley after game week 19 have got Villa at home, right? Which, all right, Villa's defence very strong, and then they've got Chelsea away. So I'm not Woods. Whereas Che Adams has got Arsenal at home, game week 20, and then Villa at home. So he's definitely better set up. It'd be better. I'm better off having Che Adams in 19 than I am having Wood because of the fixtures that follow. But Wood is better set up for 16 and 17, I think, by quite a way. So it's very, very tricky, isn't it? I don't think I'll keep Calvert-Lewin. I want to make a change up front. Bamford is a gimme. It's Rodrigo and Wood. What more can I do there? Maybe with a bit. I mean, I've got some money in the bank. Maybe I can look up the other options. Maybe I do go Che Adams. Maybe I just forego the fact that Wood's got 2 good fixtures, 16 and 17. Maybe that is the more sensible pick.
You've been so pro-Wood.
No, I want to be.
You're talking about getting Adams in.
If I could carry my transfer from 17 over to 19, it would be easy because I would use one to swap Pope to Fabianski and one to swap Wood to Adams. But I can't do that without taking a hit. And that's if I put Mane in from the start and I don't start with Son, which is still a toss-up, really. I think I am going to go with this. I think this is what you'll see in the morning. Whether or not, having slept on it and having looked at some more data tonight, I don't know. I mean, do you think it's horrible or you think it's acceptable? Or it's? I mean, like, how many double game weeks have I got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I've got 13.
It is quite comfortably the best one out of the 4, right. Like by a country mile. No, I like it. I really like it. I think it's good. Like I said, I think the only two things are the lack of Spurs and the lack of Leicester, which could bite you. But you've kind of got reasons for both of those.
Well, I think James Justin will come in for Rhys James. I think that will happen just to give me a bit more cover for 19. So I think I'm worried about Rhys James. I like him though, so it's not a given. But that's something I will look at tonight. Other than that, it's whether I go with Son first and then get Mane in 19, or just stick with Mane all the way through. I think I'm going to stick with Mane. I think Mane has the opportunities to outscore Son. Even though Son's got better fixtures, Klopp's team can score 2 or 3 goals in every game. Whereas I look at Spurs and think, I don't know if Mourinho sends his team out to get 3 or 4 goals in every game. I think Leeds, they might have to, but that's the only thing. So
the other thing is, like, you don't really want to be booking yourself transfers in on the wildcard. I mean, I know, okay, Pope to Fabianski is fine, but that's a bit of a luxury move anyway. But you never know. I mean, don't forget, these players have got a lot of games coming up over the next few days. We could see injuries. We could see, team news with them saying they're going to miss out in next games.
COVID, of course.
There's so much stuff that can happen. So, I agree. I think if you're going to keep Mane for the double, then you stick with him and hope he matches. Which, I mean, the game,
he's not a bad
Newcastle,
player, is he? He's on his face. Yeah,
he's quite good.
At Newcastle and Southampton, Mane going back to Southampton, he could easily do well. Easily, they're going to win. Liverpool are going to win both those games, I would have thought, right? And I know Spurs are probably going to win against Fulham and Leeds, probably. But I think Mane has a chance of outscoring Son, definitely. Don't think it's a given that Son outscores him. I mean, if you look at the data coming out of Spurs at the moment, Son and Kane just aren't getting opportunities. I mean,
no, they've been really poor.
Yeah, so I'm happy with that. It's just, what do I do in game week 20 with bloody Chris Wood, Rodrigo, and Raphinha? I mean,
exactly. Yeah, I know. Well, I think Raphinha is good because I think he is, from what I've seen and from the stats, I think he has got a big haul coming in him.
Yeah, they've got Newcastle away in 20, so it's not. Yeah, that's not bad, right?
I don't think he's a big problem.
No.
Yeah,
and Rodrigo's playing every game. I mean, I think Hernandez will get minutes in game week 19. I don't think Hernandez will start over Rodrigo in game week 19. I think Rodrigo will get both games. Hernandez will start in the FA Cup. I think is most likely. So I think Rodrigo will only get an hour in those games, but he could do damage. I think he's a decent of the strikers available. I think he's decent value for 19. So you want to do a toast?
I do. I need to go grab a whiskey, and I would have. We've got 2,700 people watching. We went to 2,999.
Yeah, I know. We nearly made the 3,000,
and then it fell down again. We've been talking for an hour and 20. I'm gonna grab a drink, grab a whiskey.
Granville's in there. I'll talk to Granville. He's saying Raphinha is a waste of a spot. Yeah, I'm not sold on him either. Go and get your whiskey. I'll talk to.
I'll be back in a sec.
I see what you're saying. Granville. I'm not sold on him either. And I think if this wasn't a double game week where Leeds had good fixtures, I wouldn't be looking at Raphinha. And it does pain me to sell Grealish to get a player like Raphinha in, but it's the money I'd free up elsewhere, which enables me to get Alexander-Arnold in mainly. So I think Raphinha and Alexander-Arnold versus someone like Charlie Taylor and Grealish, I think Raphinha and Alexander-Arnold will win out over the double, so I think it's worth it. But yeah, Raphinha's not a player. I mean, to be honest, stats-wise, Raphinha's looked pretty good. He's having plenty of shots, but his end product I do think maybe I should go Harrison and play safe. You know, I think Harrison's a better player in terms of end product. He puts better crosses in. His finishing's decent. Raphinha is a bit raw, it seems. Like lots of pace, lots of trickery, but his end product's still in question. So I do think it's not the greatest signing, but I'm going to roll the dice on him, I think, over Harrison. So it's not too bad. Rodrigo is... I think Rodrigo is going to be a decent value over the double. I think you look at his data, it's not too far behind Bamford in terms of his opportunities. I think he plays both games in 19. He might not get an hour only, but that might be enough. The fixtures are good enough where Leeds will get 2 or 3 goals in those games. So Rodrigo, I think, will be all right for me. And after that, yeah, he'll be a problem and I want to get rid. But as I say, the Newcastle away game in 20 is not too bad. If I have to play Rodrigo in that, it's not the end of the world. I don't think. Right, what else have we got in chat here? Let's see what we got. I mean, what do people think of the Chris Wood thing? I haven't seen many comments on him at the moment. I'm just seeing.
I'm back.
People are saying I should save the free hit, which is interesting. I mean, I did look at the fact that should I aim the wild card at 18 and free hit in 19? I did look at that briefly. But that's worse because you're wild carding in players that are even more bland than this. You know, you're not getting free Liverpool, you know, for game week 18. So I don't think that's an option I wanted to look at. The free hit is
late riser and the others, right? They're late riser. I think is going for a half and half, right?
Yeah,
he's not.
Yeah, I think it's very difficult. That I don't think game week 18 is that bad actually. I look at game week 18 and think there are some opportunities there, and there are some players that, I mean, a lot of managers who aren't going to free hit are probably only going to have 5 or 6 players, and in case they're going to get on, they're going to make sure they're going to get Son and Kane, right, and they're going to make sure they have City players because they need the captain, right. So the captaincy is going to go on. Well, it'd be interesting actually. De Bruyne was the obvious captain for game week 18 at home to Brighton. So maybe people would be driven to hold on to De Bruyne because if they're not free hitting in 18, they probably need to hold him on the basis that he'd have to be their captain, unless they go Kane or Son at Villa, which is okay. But Villa's defence is actually pretty strong at the moment. So that people going off De Bruyne is a bit of a problem if you're not free hitting in 18. What are you going to get De Bruyne in as your captain with a free hit?
Yeah, or just before I go into that, just a toast, Mark, to BlackBox and to everyone in the chat. Thank you for watching, being with us at 12:30 at night, discussing Mark's Wildcard and Chris Wood and Pope.
Oh, right.
Yep.
Cheers. Cheers, everyone. Thanks for watching, listening.
Yeah, we do. Genuinely though, it is amazing to have so many people watching and supporting and everything. It's it's been a good year, isn't it? Last few months.
It has. It's been really good doing this, and it's interesting that when we do the kind of impromptu ones without any planning, we do them late at night. We have more people watching than we do during the week. It just shows you that there is an audience out there awake at this time of night wanting to think and talk about.
Well, and a shout out to people. I mean, we've got people in India and places who are watching this. You've got some people saying it's 6 a.m., it's 3:30 a.m. who are watching it live. So
crazy.
You know, it is crazy. It's amazing.
I say it's crazy, but you know that's what I'm like as well. You know, I still want to listen and watch FPL content at this time of night because at this time of year when there's so much football on, that's what I'm thinking about. That's my hobby, right? So I don't blame them. I don't know. It's good. It's good that we're all like-minded together in this community that, you know, all the content creators have built. It's great.
But also, if you're in India, go to bed.
Yes. So the free hit, we should probably do one for the free hit because we're both going to free hit in 18. So we'll do a stream as well. But De Bruyne, a lot of people have really fallen out of love with him on the basis that he's toiling a bit on City R as well. Surely he's the free hit captain though, wasn't he? Are you going to get him into captain him in 18?
I think he is, just because there's no one else at City I want. The reason why I went for Mahrez and the reason why I got absolutely slated for it was not just because I thought Mahrez could cover that horrible word I hate, De Bruyne's points. I genuinely thought Mahrez was a really strong option given the form he had, the trust Pep had in him, and all of that. Obviously, that didn't work out. So now it's back to just being De Bruyne. I don't trust anyone else in that team, really. Sterling is interesting because Sterling is starting to look a bit more like his old self, but we've seen he's a very frustrating, shall we say, player. So if you tap into him at the right time, it can be amazing, but at the same time, he can also frustrate. So I think maybe if I'm going into this City game against Brighton, I think it is Sterling who I go for.
And again, the reason I'd say that is because those who aren't free hitting will have De Bruyne. Because if you're not free hitting, you're going to hold De Bruyne for this spell in order to have him for the Brighton game. So people like Late Riser will be captaining De Bruyne, I imagine, unless he's going to spend a transfer doing De Bruyne to Sterling. He's the kind of manager who could do that. Or he could even get Aguero, maybe. Maybe Aguero is going to start this game. So Late Riser's not a good example because he does do maverick stuff. But I think in general, a lot of managers who aren't going to...
We won't have the both of them. Because I'm thinking in that, for this free hit, I think most people that free hit are going to rock with Cancelo, De Bruyne and Sterling, right?
I might go 2 defenders and Sterling. Yeah. I don't know. It's a good point. I don't know.
So you wouldn't have De Bruyne.
It's true actually, because I think most people who aren't going to free hit will have Diaz and we'll definitely have Diaz and De Bruyne. So yeah, I'd be thinking. I haven't really thought much about the free hit that much yet because obviously the wildcard's been on my mind. But I do look at this and think it's not so bad. It's like Wolves, Everton. Getting Podence and Neto, who no one without the free hit is going to have, could be decent. I mean, Everton concede chances, so Wolves could win that 2-0, and Podence and Neto, as we've seen, have been the keeper. I mean, Wolves are so unpredictable. You don't know what you're going to get, but it's worth going in for Podence and Neto, I think, and probably a Wolves defender as well, because I don't think Everton at the moment are creating too much. So I'd probably go 3 Wolves. I'll probably go maybe...
Wolves?
I probably will, yeah. I think so, because I look at it and think, well, unless you're free hitting, you're not going to have any Wolves players, right? And so those who aren't free hitting will take City, Villa and Spurs into this, right? So the players that are going to be the differentials are players like the Wolves players and Zaha and an Arsenal player.
The Wolves aren't that good.
No, I know. So it's not great by any means, but I think there's opportunities there. I don't think it's...
I think, so do I. No, so do I. I think there is opportunities. I think you've got City, you've got Spurs. Okay, Villa are quite good, but you still, if you're going to have 3 City and 2 Spurs, either a defender and Kane, that's 5 of your team. You're going to have a couple from the Wolves-Everton game. And then you're looking at Sheffield United, Newcastle and Arsenal Palace and thinking, okay, can I actually get some players in here who could do quite well? So like someone like Callum Wilson, could do well in that game.
Yeah.
Joe Linton captain, could be an absolute... How many opportunities are you going to have to captain someone like that?
But the thing is, most people, I guess, if they're not free hitting, will keep Calvert-Lewin for that game, maybe. So you wouldn't go Calvert-Lewin. You might do something different, like Sigurdsson or something like that. You could. It's a chance to do something different, I guess. So, and Spurs, I guess you've got to have Kane and Son though. You'd have to cover that. I don't think I'm going to be brave enough to go into, because Kane and Son are just so everything that Spurs do normally comes to them. Although tonight it didn't, did it? But I think Kane.
I'll tell you the ultimate differential in that week that a few people in the chat are saying.
Aubameyang?
Your favourite pronunciation.
Yeah, Aubameyang,
very good.
Yeah, Aubameyang could be, because he's back to fitness now. You'd expect him to play that game and start it.
Imagine if you free hit in Aubameyang, he gets a brace. That is meteoric.
It is, and it would be quite poetic for Aubameyang to have. I did it again. To have a decent impact on our seasons, having done absolutely nothing for anyone all season, for him to be a big factor in the free hit or in this game week would be quite a story, wouldn't it?
Get a place on the wall yet.
He would, he might do. So I'm quite optimistic about game week 18. And so, what's the date on that? So we'll do a late night. We'll do a late night feed into that one, probably on the Monday, when we're both free hitting, and we'll have a tinker with our teams then. So lots to come. I don't know when we're going to do our next regular black box. I don't know when that's going to be, but it's not going to be.
No, so I've got Scoutcast on Wednesday.
Right.
So I can't do our normal slot.
So we'll have to talk off air about when we do the next one.
Yeah, I can do any other day.
Yeah, okay. So just going back to the wild card, this is probably what I'm going to do. And I must remember to activate the wild card because I yet to do it. I could do a Who
Have you made any moves?
No, I haven't done anything yet.
Spencer did it famously.
Yes.
He took a 52, I think, or something like that.
Yeah, and forgot to activate the wildcard. I mustn't do that. Yeah.
Oh,
so yeah, this is what I'll go with. I think. So let's see.
There he is. He's in the chat. Hi, Spence.
Is he? Right.
Yeah. He's there.
Bless him. We'll always remember that. Yeah, 52 points, wasn't it? Because he didn't activate the wildcard. Yeah, and didn't someone else did it?
World number one did it,
Yeah.
or former world number one.
The winner, Tom, did it, didn't
The
he?
winner. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sure.
No, was it Tom?
I can't
Was it
remember.
Simon?
I can't remember. No, it wasn't Simon. He's far too sensible.
Wasn't Simon?
It might have been. I thought it was. Anyway,
maybe it was Tom Fenley.
I think it was Tom Fenley. I think it was, because he frankly didn't give a damn the year after. So I think it was Tom. I'm going to go with this. I think I'm going to go with Mane. This wasn't what I had this morning, but after that Liverpool performance, I think going the 2 Liverpool attackers is the way to go. And then would Rodrigo, Raphinha? Yeah, okay. I'll have a plan to get rid. That might hurt me, but I think it's points in the bank. If 13 double game weekers get me some points in the bank, then I can take some hits afterwards, can't I? So it's going to be, I mean, like when you look at it now, the free hit in 18 and the double game week with the bench boost in 19, probably the 2 most important weeks of my season now, these 2. Not great when the fact the decisions that they're based on is being done in a matter of 12 hours before the deadline.
Where are you now?
Having not seen the Spurs or Liverpool games yet. I've got to watch Match of the Day in a minute. I am just outside the top 100,000, so I'm 100 and...
It's a good position to be in at this point.
Yeah. I wanted to be in the top 500,000 at this point. Has it got upgraded to ranks at the moment? 116,000 I am. It's all right. Very good. I mean, I'm pleased with that because I've
just check mine. Jesus.
jumped up. Are you at 1.5? 1.5 million.
1.7.
Yeah, so, well, it's not where you wanted to be, but a lot can change. And we're not even halfway through the season. So it's weird to be talking about double game weeks and wild cards before we're halfway through, but that's the way it is. That's the way it's happened. So, yeah, and there's a lot of double game weeks to come. We know there's a lot of, and other people are going to be bench boosting, including yourself. Because you're going to triple captain. We haven't spoken about that. You're going to triple captain in 19, are you?
Yeah. So that's the other thing, isn't it? I mean, a lot of people thinking about the bench boost. I could, in theory, start building my team towards a bench boost because I've got so many players in. But I just like the look of that Liverpool double so much against big rivals United and then home to Burnley. I just think that's such a lovely double for Salah to have. And okay, he's hurt a lot of us today, blanking against West Brom. He didn't look good today, I have to say. There was a really good ball. I think Robertson put it on, and it was the kind of ball you'd really expect Salah just to be there and just get in. But he was a bit slow and he was trying a bit too hard today. He just wasn't really working out for him. But two home games in those 2. I mean, United are better away from home, but I mean, with Maguire and Lindelof. I mean, Lindelof played at right back in the last game. He got injured.
I thought he did well at right back, actually.
He did, but I don't like him very much.
No.
He's another one to add to my list of not being that great. And yeah, I think if he ended up I can't see him ending up at right back against Liverpool. Surely Mumsap comes back in, but still, even if he's back at centre back with Maguire, I still see Liverpool putting a hell of a lot of pressure on them. So yeah, I just really like that. I think triple captain wise, I can't imagine 2 better games getting that from anyone. So yeah, I'll be sticking.
See, that could be big for you. If Salah delivers there, that could outscore the bench boost even. And in past it has, right? Get it right. The bench boost is overrated as a chip. And I'll be lucky if I get 20 extra points, I'll be absolutely delighted.
20 is normally my target. The thing is, it is overrated, but you only really need to get 1 return from a player who you otherwise wouldn't have played for it to be worth it. Like I got Delafeu last year. I bought him in purely for my bench boost. He got 18 points. I think he got 2 goals and an assist over the 2 games. And it was great. And, massive, like rank increase for someone like that. Low owned player on your bench, you wouldn't have got an extra 20 points. It's absolutely massive. So, yeah, it is overrated because it can so easily just be crap, but at the same time,
Delafeu, though, he's a slightly more attractive player to own than Chris Wood, I would say. So
is he still at Watford, Delafeu?
No,
he's in the Championship now.
No.
Must have left, right?
He went back to Spain, I imagine. I haven't traced his career ever since. He's a lovely player. He should have done more.
Oh, try and spell Delafeu
at this time of night.
That's not going well after. He's at Udinese.
Yeah, good player. Good player. That's should have done more though. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. But these are big game weeks, and it's just a shame that they're all condensed, and we've got to make decisions and rush them out. But I'm going to sleep on this. I'm going to watch Match of the Day now. See if there's anything else that changes my mind, and then I'll make some transfers tonight, and then wake up in the morning and see if I change my mind or anything. So we'll see.
Have a few more drinks.
Yeah.
Give me a call if you need any more.
We'll do. Yeah.
Perfect advice.
Yeah, we'll do. But thanks so much for trying to help me out with that. It's torture, agony. But
I'm gonna make my transfer now. By the way, I'm going to do Eiling to Justin.
All right, you're getting him in as well. Right.
I just don't really want Eiling anymore.
No. Like I said, I think it was
a good game today.
He's a good player, Eiling. I like him a lot. I think it was FPL Prince put up about which of these defenders should I get, Dallas, Walker Peters, or Soufal. And I said Soufal because personally I'd get 3 Leeds attackers, not one defender and 2 Leeds attackers. And he was like, oh, bit brave going 3 Leeds attackers. And it is true. Raphinha, Rodrigo and Bamford are brave, but I don't count Bamford because everyone's got him. And I just think Leeds will get goals. I mean, I'd rather back Leeds to get goals and clean sheets. I know Dallas gives you your promise of both, so I see the potential. But the trouble is, a lot of people have got Dallas already. So I just think that backing West Ham's clean sheets is a better move. So, but we'll see. It's going to be a lot's going to change. It's about time, to be honest, though, because I look at this and I hate it at the moment that when a player scores, I'm like, well, I can't really celebrate that because everyone's got him. And I know you say, no, they haven't. But in the community that we work in, everyone's got very similar teams now. So this will actually shake a lot of it up because only half of us, maybe even less than that, will play the wild card and bench boost. So it's going to change a few things around. My team might not be stronger than some coming out of it. I've just got to hope I get some points in the bank. So at least it changes things up. So I'm grateful for that because I think it has got a little bit samey. It's like today when I was thinking if Salah does score, can we celebrate that? Really, everyone's going to have.
Yeah, I know. You guess. Well, I could. To be fair, probably would have been worth a few 100,000 places for me. But
the players you were looking forward to watching were your 2 Liverpool fullbacks because, like me, with the 2 City players, you're thinking they're the differentials. They're the ones that can help me the most. And so when you've only got 1 or 2 players that you're cheering for because everybody else has got the others. It's a bit. I mean, Suchet's goal was great today because I know not everyone's got him. Sorry to bring that up again. So, but that's about it. Like a cheap midfielder is my big differential. It's like let's get the wild card out and shake it up a bit, and make a few changes. So
I really do. Really do think Raphinha is going to get a massive haul coming.
Granville's not sure, but you and him never agree, do you? But we'll see. All right, that'll do us. Thanks very much. Thanks everyone for listening, and we'll see you for the next show whenever that will be. Az and I will consult on that, and we'll definitely do a free hit show as well, late night stream repeat of this where more drink will be consumed, and we'll both be picking teams in that one.
Exciting.
Yeah, it will be. Yeah, so it's a good night for me.
Good night, everyone. Like and sub if you haven't already. Appreciate it.